Cyclone MMA. What's going on, everybody? My name is Mason from Cyclone MMA, and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be breaking down UFC 273. It's here. It is this Saturday. Volkanovski versus the Korean Zombie and such. I'm going to be talking about all 5 of these fights. I'm going to be previewing it, and then I'm going to give you my picks. Don't bet based on my picks, because that would just be bad for you and your wallet. I'm usually wrong. One of these picks, too, you're going to go, what the fug? That's what you're going to say. I can't say the F-bomb, because if I do, then YouTube will demonetize me, and they'll take my 3 cents that I'd make off this video. So we can't have that happening. Anyways, enough about me. Enough about this. Let's get into the first fight on this card. Vinc Pichel versus Madsen. Vinc Pichel lacking the E in his name, but he's not lacking the mustache on his face. He's got a beautiful mustache. Yes, he does. Anyways, he's fighting Madsen, and he has a very good wrestling background. Madsen was an Olympian, hence his nickname, the Olympian. He was a wrestler, and he did medal, I think. I think he got a bronze or a silver. It wasn't gold. I remember it wasn't gold. Anyways, Pichel, he lands about 3.42 strikes per minute, and he absorbs 2.49 strikes per minute. Madsen, on the other hand, he lands 4.33 strikes per minute and absorbs 3.62. So when you think about it, Pichel lands less strikes per minute, but he absorbs less as well. Madsen's a little bit more active. Madsen has never been taken down in the UFC. Hence, we talked about his wrestling background. So I think he's going to have the advantage there. We don't see him utilize his wrestling all that much, but it's nice to see that he has it in his back pocket. These two really fight similarly. I think Pichel has slightly more experience in the UFC, but he still doesn't fight all that often. Madsen, is more active. He's slightly younger. These guys are both kind of old. Like, Madsen's 37. I want to say Pichel's like 39. I'm going to go with Madsen via decision. I know he's the underdog in this fight, but I just see all of these variables leading to him getting a W. I think he's got more power. I think he's slightly more youthful and moves a little better, and he's got that Olympic background that I think will help him out. Moving on, we have Mackenzie Dern versus Tecia Torres. These are two very, very talented fighters in the strawweight division. Tecia Torres has only lost to savages like Namajunas, Joanna, Andrade, Rodriguez. Mackenzie Dern is coming off of a loss to Rodriguez. And this is one of those matchups where if it's one on the ground, it goes to Mackenzie Dern. If it's one on the feet, it goes to Tecia Torres. Mackenzie Dern is a lethal black belt, and she has 7 out of her 11 victories via submission. Tecia Torres is just a savage on the feet, and she is a black belt in karate, and it shows with her strikes because her kicks, she is so she's a Swiss Army knife full of strikes. She's got oblique kicks, she's got, front kicks, she's got everything, and she uses all of her target. She aims for the head, body, legs evenly. Mackenzie Dern, on the other hand, a little bit wild. She has sharp punches, but she's mostly a headhunter. So I think she's going to be trying to get some trips or takedowns and get the fight to the ground. Tecia Torres wants to keep it standing. And Tecia Torres also has this style where if, someone comes after her, she can back up, avoid any heavy strikes, and then she gives it her own. She always is the one hitting her opponent last in getting the last punch or kick in the exchange. I'm going to take Tecia Torres by decision. I think this has, a really good chance of being a solid-ass fight. These fighters are both durable. They're both super fun. So I'm really excited. If Mackenzie Dern does get a leg, though, it's going to be a messed up night for Tecia Torres. If it's on the ground, Dern can do her thing and get a W. But I have Torres winning a decision. Moving on to the People's main event. Gilbert Burns versus Khamzat Chimaev. This fight is insane. I'm going to take a sip of water now, so just take a break, okay? So many variables going into this fight, right? Khamzat Chimaev, we don't know how great he is. And if he beats Gilbert Burns, he's going to get a title shot. And if he beats Burns convincingly, he's going to be a favorite in his fight against Usman. And that's going to happen. If he beats Burns, he's going to a title shot. Now, we know what Khamzat's going to do. He might throw a few punches, but ultimately he's going to try to take down Burns, and he's going to try to do it quick. This is interesting because we just don't know that much about Khamzat. He's finished every fight he's been in. He's never been into the third round, and he's never even been that late into the second round. I think he's only been 3 minutes into the second round, like once. Man, there's so many variables. So on the feet, they both have power. I think Khamzat probably has more power, but I think it's one of those situations where the first one to land super clean can finish this fight and get a W. But Khamzat has power that translates to middleweight because he knocked out Mearshart in with one punch, first round, first couple seconds of the fight. We've seen Burns flatline people too, though. On the ground, it's going to be really interesting because Gilbert Burns is lethal. His BJJ is just crazy. Khamzat's wrestling is just insane. So Khamzat's going to try to get the takedown. Will Gilbert Burns be able to stop it? And on top of that, if he isn't able to stop it, how will he do on the ground? Is he able to submit Khamzat Chimaev from the bottom? Is he able to get some control time in himself? There are a lot of variables, and there's a lot we don't know. What I will tell you is Burns is a veteran, and Burns has been in a lot of fights, and he's been in title fights. And I think I see that helping him here. I've been watching just videos of him training, and he did these 15-minute drills of hell, just replicating a UFC fight. And so I think his cardio going into this is going to be really good. And I wonder if that's going to be a factor at all, because you have Khamzat Chimaev, who he really plays into him being a wild man. And you saw him against the Leech, and he just picked him up and he threw him down in the corner where Dana White was. And he was screaming at Dana White. If he's doing that stuff against Gilbert Burns, and he doesn't get Gilbert out of there in the first round, and he doesn't get Gilbert out of there in the second round, it's going to be a tough third round because you're going to get tired. If you're exerting that much energy in a fight, you're going to be tired. With that being said, I have Gilbert Burns winning this fight via knockout in the third round. Let that sink in. I'm waiting for the hate comments. I haven't gotten any yet, and I have talked about this on, a past video, but I have Burns winning. I think that's going to be a surprise to a lot of you. I think Khamzat Chimaev very well could win this fight. There's a reason why it's a minus 500 favorite or something like that. Maybe even more than that. But I see Burns doing it. I think it might be too much too soon for Chimaev. Not to say that he can't have success against a lot of these other, top welterweights, but I might be eating my words. We'll see here. Moving on, we have Aljamain Sterling versus Petr Yan. The way that Aljamain Sterling outclassed Petr Yan and was able to convince him to land that illegal knee to win the fight was just a masterclass of fight IQ. In all seriousness, we all know how that first fight was going. Petr Yan kind of was leading the dance, especially towards the end. Aljo got tired, and Yan was just taking over from there. Petr Yan's a special fighter, dude. And he's one who takes off the first round. He has a high guard. He lets you come forward, and he just downloads information like an android. It's kind of creepy, actually. He's like, okay, come here. He did it to Aldo. He did it to Aljo, and he did it to Sandhagen. And then he just gets better and better as the fight goes on, and he just starts putting it on people. Sterling has a window. His first 2 rounds, I think. Based on his career and based on the last fight, his jiu-jitsu is very good and he can submit people. And I think he could submit Yan. It has to be in the first round, though. He's going to get too tired. Yan's going to keep getting better. He's going to keep getting sweatier. It's going to be harder to submit Petr Yan because he's going to be there for 5 rounds. We've seen it. We've seen it multiple times now. So I think Petr Yan gets a knockout finish in the 4th round and wins this fight. I think he's too cerebral. I think he's too quick. I think he's too powerful. I do think this will be a really fun fight, though, and I don't think people are giving Aljamain Sterling enough credit for what he did in that first fight. Yes, he took the illegal knee. Jan was in the wrong there, obviously, and you might think he played it up. You might not think he played it up, but he did bring that fight in the first round and in the second round, but he got tired. His best chance of winning is in the first 2 rounds, so don't be surprised if you see that same game plan again. But that's what I have. Petr Yan, 4th round finish, knockout. Moving on to the main event, we have Alexander the Great Volkanovski versus some zombie from Korea, Chan Sung Jung. This is Volkanovski's fight to lose. He's the champ. He's, a pound for pound great. He's one of the best featherweight fighters of all time. Korean zombie, he has a puncher's chance, and I don't mean to disrespect him. I'm glad he's getting this title shot because the only other title shot he has was back in the day against Aldo. He dislocated his shoulder in that one, so it's cool to see the zombie back here. He's a fan favorite, and he's a dope fighter. But when you break down this fight and you look, of them on the feet, Volkanovski has the edge. If you look on the ground, Volkanovski has the edge, and I know that Korean Zombie's been working a lot with Henry Cejudo in that team in Arizona. What's the name of that team? Fight Ready or something like that. So he might look better. Maybe his takedown defense will be better. But I don't know. Zombie, don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. But I think a telling fight for Zombie was the Brian Ortega fight. When you compare Brian Ortega versus Korean Zombie to Volkanovski versus Brian Ortega, you can see that there are levels, and you can see that Volkanovski's a little bit up there. And I know MMA math doesn't always work, but there's a reason why Volkanovski's the champ. And I think it's cool that Korean Zombie's here, but he is a replacement. Now, this does set up a great storyline for Korean Zombie to go in there and spark Volkanovski and become a champion, and that would be a sick story. But I see Volkanovski taking it to him and winning a decision. I do think that they call him Zombie for a reason. Korean Zombie is super durable, and I think he'll be there. But I have Volkanovski ultimately winning this fight. So there you have it. UFC 273. It's happening this Saturday. It's going to be a good one. You also have Ian Gary fighting as the main event for the prelims. So there's some cool fights going on there as well. Aspen Ladd's fighting. Raquel Pennington. There's some good stuff all around for everyone. So be sure to tune in. It's going to be an awesome fight. Like this video if you enjoyed this breakdown. Comment who you think is going to win this fight. Check out some t-shirts. I have some MMA t-shirts. Link in the description below. And as always, be sure to subscribe for more MMA content. I post videos every single day. So if you appreciate the grind, be sure to leave a like. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Have a good one. Peace out. Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson.
Amanda. Duh.
Next, we got Artem Lobov. We're going to stick him right up at S tier. Just kidding.